Went into service the latter part of December in 1942. Our job was we had the only gun in the world that could knock Hitler's tanks out. We was there 2 months before the invasion, and we was the first heavy guns to go into Normandy. Tracks pulling these guns 600 miles from Brest, France, all the way through France and then Belgium and to the edge of Belgium and Germany to the Signalfield line at Mandeville, Belgium. That was right on the German and Belgian border, and that's where the Battle of the Bulge occurred, in that area. So come downstairs, and my commanding, my lieutenant, he wasn't my commanding officer, lieutenant was calling everybody. He said, I want a balance of y'all that are surviving now to surrender. Said if we don't, said it's going to be a useless loss of lives. But right before he ordered us to surrender, he lined us up across the street with our hands over our heads like this. And there was about 30 of us, and I was as it started, a tank come this way, and I was on the left side, and he started this machine gun. Instead of taking, our commander thought he was going to take us prisoners. We were standing there with our hands like this over our head, about 30, and he turned the machine gun and come across just like that, just fast as he could, backwards and forth. But when he fired his first shot on the right side, I kicked my feet back and dropped flat on my stomach again, and every bullet just glazed over the top of me, and I laid there and didn't move, just like I was dead. And he kept firing backwards and forth as long as he could see anybody moving, and that I wasn't moving. I was laying still as a mouse. And then he turned his tank around and drove on off, and I laid there till he got almost out of sight. When he got up out of sight, I got up and walked off, and I was the only one out of 30 that was able to get up and walk off. We was in a cattle car, and there's about 200 of us in a cattle car. There was 1,000 on the whole train, but we're all wounded, going to the same prison camp. If you survived on your own, you did. If you didn't, you died. And if you died, I had to help bury him. They looked at me when I first got there and said, we'd like for you to be a pallbearer for American dead. And I helped bury 51 that died, wounded about like I was. Marched us 80 miles under shotgun before I escaped, and the way I escaped was a miracle too. One evening before I escaped the next day, we had stopped for rest. They give us a rest of 10 minutes out of an hour, and so we were standing there, and this one guy was talking. There's a bunch around it, and there wasn't a soul that I knew. I'd never seen any of them before. And I was standing here, and the other guy was facing the other way. And he said, you know, I've got a German army field map, an American compass, that I was going to use to escape with, but said after I looked at those shotguns, I just knew I was going to get killed. And said, so the next morning, I just had one buddy that was from my outfit with me there. The rest of our boys went to different camps. I told him, I said, well, Shula, it come to me last night, just like a dream, that we're going to get away. I said, we're going to work our way to the back. We're going to drag along. We've been up towards the front of the column. We're going to drag along at 4 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to be at the back of the column, and we're right at the back of the column. And when they holler for everybody to give us a break, you know, and I said we're going to lay down there flat, and we're not going to move a peg. I coached them all day that day, and the 5 is going to do while I was walking, and. We all laid flat out there. I said, now when they holler for everybody back in the road, just lay flat and don't sail, don't move an inch or nothing. The eye will pick you up if there's any movement, you know, we trained that. And So when it looked like y'all got back in the road, they marched on off, and there was a guard about 10 foot over here and about 10 foot over from me over here. They never even looked around. They just marched on off and left the 5 of us laying there right in plain, broad, open daylight. You could see us for half a mile, laying there on the edge of the road there. And they marched on off, and when they got almost out of sight, we got up and walked off, and we was away from it. Born with it, I think what he was talking about, I was a Christian, and I was baptized at 13 years old. When you're baptized, you receive the Holy Spirit. And if you listen to it, the Holy Spirit can direct you in the way that you should go. And the Holy Spirit was with me all during the war. And that's how I survived the whole war.